Good morning, Grid Nation. It's not morning, actually. It's afternoon. Good afternoon, Grid Nation. I still feel like it's the morning, even though I've been up forever. But I'm here with the one, the only, Artur Cabral from the South Beach Palms. How are you?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming. I was telling Artur it's been forever trying to coordinate this, and it's all my fault. But I'm glad that we finally were able to do so.
It worked out. It worked out. Finally, the schedules worked out.
All right. First, I don't know a lot about you, which is funny because like we've talked a few times, but we've always spoken like about grid, so I never really got to like learn too much about you. And I want to start with what's your favorite color?
My favorite color, it's black and pink, actually. Two colors. I don't have one favorite color, but black and pink or a combination of both, which kind of helps that the Palms have some pink in it, and then we have the pink uniforms this year, so that was pretty cool. Um, the combo of baby blue and pink is also sick, so I love
Yeah.
that.
The pink uniforms were super cool, and pink is also one of my favorite colors. And black and pink specifically is really cool, and it always reminds me of like Avril Lavigne. You remember her?
Yeah, true. That is
I
true.
always like whenever I see like black and pink, I was like, yes, like little 2000s me bopping to Avril Lavigne, like trying to dress like her. So that's fun. That's a fun time.
Yep.
Um, you are from Brazil?
Yep. That's right.
Okay, where in Brazil?
So I'm from the northeast of Brazil, a city called Maceió, which is right on the beach. I grew up walking distance from the beach, so I was there all the time, every weekend, sometimes weekdays. So yeah, that's where I grew up and until I moved to the US.
That's sick. When did you move to the US?
Yeah, I moved to the US initially in 2014.
Okay.
So I came to directly to South Carolina actually to college. So I came to play volleyball in college and get my degree. My interest was primarily playing at first, but um, getting the degree kind of like changed the direction of that my life would take afterwards. Not at that moment. I came to the U.S. to get my years of college volleyball and then with the goal to play professionally, which I ended up doing so after college, which was great. Um, but yeah, getting the degree was paramount to like where I am today because I no longer play professionally. And um, I kind of, after playing professionally in Brazil for a couple of seasons, I had the opportunity to come back to the US to get my master's and be assistant coach for Georgia Tech, a grad assistant coach position. And again, the academics kind of led to getting a job and where I'm today. So yeah, that's kind of like a super condensed version of my story.
Yeah, that's sick. I what got you into playing volleyball? Were you just like at the beach and you were like they were like, you're really tall, like come here." Was it like those things?
Not really, actually, but my I wouldn't say they got me into volleyball, but I definitely saw as an example. So my parents and my uncle played volleyball their entire life, and so I always played sports growing up. So I started swimming with like when I was about 1 year old, and started doing like martial arts, specifically judo, one, ever since I was three, and then went around to different sports, tennis, handball, etc. And then when I was about 10 years old, I started playing volleyball um, in school and kind of started enjoying it. And like when I was 12, started taking a little bit more seriously. And by the time I was like 13, 14, I was like, okay, that's the sport I wanna follow and dedicate and drop the other ones. I was still playing tennis then. I was like gonna drop that and then focus on volleyball. So kind of like family influence a little bit because I've seen my parents playing growing up and my uncle and they played in college and everything. But um, yeah, that's kind of how it all started, and um,
Yeah,
played for the past for 16 years afterwards.
that's so cool. And when you say you played in a league in Brazil, like what kind of league was it?
It was a professional league in Brazil. Yeah,
Okay.
so we unfortunately don't have a professional league in the US for men's volleyball. We do have for women's volleyball now, which is really awesome. We do have an Atlanta team, um, but we don't have a male professional league here. But in Brazil, it's after soccer is the second main sport of Brazil.
Oh,
So, you know, full stadiums and all that type of stuff. And we have like the A League, B League, C League. So it's like it's pretty large. I would say top two, top three, like biggest leagues in the world for men's volleyball at least. Um, but yeah, so I had the opportunity to play for two different teams in two different seasons there after I graduated from college, which was really awesome. I loved the opportunity to play professionally because not only I, kind of like accomplished a dream of mine from when I started playing. That was like the ultimate goal. And I wanted to play professionally, but also you play with like people that you idolize your entire life. So you play with players that have been to the Olympics and you play with or against them, depending which side of the court you're in. But it was a really awesome experience to learn from those players and to play for a couple seasons even. So yeah, it added a lot to how I grew as a player just in those, two seasons that I played there, and then added a lot to my experience to this day.
yeah. That is actually so cool. I didn't know that about you. That's such a fun
Yeah,
fact.
yeah,
That's like I imagine it's kind of like, oh, like you grow up playing basketball and then like you play in the league and you get to play with like LeBron James or something. Like kind
yeah,
of the
exactly. Yeah, yeah, that level. So, yeah, I got to play with like multiple, Olympic gold medalists in the clubs that like I played growing up or that I played professionally. So when I was adding to the story of volleyball, when I was 15, I moved away from my parents' home in the northeast of Brazil, moved to the southeast of Brazil in Belo Horizonte, which is different city in the south of Brazil, but they had a large club, a volleyball club, a multi-sport club, but like they have like professional teams also in the young teams that feed into the professional team. So got recruited to play there when I was 15, played until I was about 18 before I came to the US. But on the last 6 months of that, I had the opportunity to practice and play with the pro team, which, we had a couple of like gold Olympic medalists on the team, and just the experience of learning from them and playing with them was incredible. So yeah, that is something I'll never forget. Is like I said, is the same as somebody here growing up playing basketball and playing with LeBron or Kobe or something like that.
Yeah, dude, that's so sick. That is really cool. I can't like I wish I did sports as a kid. So like but I watch sports that I never played. And like
Mhm.
even just being able to like see people like play in person that like you idolize when you grow up and stuff like that is like really impactful. So how did you go from volleyball, which I'm guessing you're still like part of volleyball or do some, like probably just for fun or like
Ever
sometimes,
so often, yeah.
yeah. Uh, but into CrossFit. Was it like a volleyball CrossFit kind of thing?
Yeah, so when I was still playing Brazil, in the last, not the last team I played professionally, but um, when I was still playing Brazil, I would sneak out of our routine. We had a really established routine for both teams. It's kind of like a rule of thumb. Like you wake up, you practice in the morning for about 2 hours, you go have lunch, you hit the weight room for an hour and a half, then you rest, and then you go straight to the gym again. The gym meaning the court, and then you practice for another like 2 to 3 hours in the afternoon. you do some physical therapy, dinner, go to bed, repeat, right? So that's like the kind of like the routine of a volleyball player playing in a team like that. So every so often, like maybe twice a week, I would sneak out and kind of like go to a CrossFit gym because like I was introduced to like CrossFit and functional fitness around, I want to say 2016 or 17. And then while playing professionally, I kind of wanted to keep that up. And I was like, oh, I like that. It's really fun. So I would do classes twice a week. And I would literally run. I didn't have a bike. I didn't have a car, nothing. I was like maybe 22, 23, and I had nothing because like you when you're playing for those teams, like there's a chance that you might play for a different team every year, or you play for 2 years, 2 seasons, and you move to a different team, etc., depending on the contract. But so anyway, I would run to the CrossFit affiliate. Like I would run like 2 miles to the CrossFit affiliate, get there, do the class, run back in the evening at like the 7 p.m. class or something, and then do that twice a week. The coaches didn't love it too much, but it actually really helped me like to do something different than just like jumping, hitting a ball, etc. Like do the same repetitive motions like hundreds of times a day. It helped me with like less knee pain, less shoulder pain. Surprisingly enough, like I was getting slightly stronger because I was doing, more squats or doing different movements that we don't do in the regular like lifting sessions for sport specific training.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I got into CrossFit. And once I stopped playing professionally and I was here in Atlanta doing my master's and being an assistant coach, I started doing classes every day. Um, got more into it, did the open for the first time, did a little local comp, like a Christmas comp at a gym nearby, and really drank the Kool-Aid. I was like, I want something more. So I would do another Metcon or do another lifting session and then start doing those, you know, um, training camps and doing a different training than the class and training for an extra hour or whatever. So, and then here we are.
That's sick. So you went from a country that's like really big on volleyball to like the United States, which is like not very big on volleyball, but also like very different like culturally. Was it
Mhm.
was it different as far as like the sports to adapt to like what it was like in the US in college?
Yeah, is yeah, very different. So, um, coming from playing in a league where like at times you had a, s- a stadium full of like 4,000, 5,000, like 8,000 people watching you play to a college campus size gym. And I know there are some college campuses that like have huge gyms, but like ours was not. Like ours maybe could fit 1,000 people or so. But in a volleyball match in South Carolina, honestly, you would get like 100 to 200 people at most watching our games. So like pretty small. So that was kind of a shock in terms of like the competitive level and the the attendance in general, like how people love volleyball. And as we progress in our college years, like more people like, oh, this team is actually pretty decent now. And then I brought a couple of friends over from Brazil to play for our school as well. So like the team like started getting better and better, and more people were watching. So, but yeah, definitely a cultural difference like sports wise because volleyball is very almost like a niche sport in the US, especially men's volleyball compared to football, baseball, basketball, etc., golf. Um, and also the cultural change in general from like a country to another um, is very different from knowing how to speak a language, but at the same time being inserted in a environment that nobody speaks your language ever. Like there was nobody in South Carolina that spoke Portuguese. Mind you, like I was 2 years went by until like I spoke Portuguese to somebody in South Carolina. So um, it was. it was definitely like a learning process, and it took me some time to adapt for sure. And not only learning the language, but getting better at understanding. Like South Carolina accents are heavy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm talking like country South Carolina. I was like, if I learn this accent here now, I'm set. I'm not gonna struggle to learn anything else. Um, so yeah, it was definitely a learning process for sure.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's so true. And then you went back to Brazil and then you moved back to Georgia, which also has like southern accents. Well, I don't know
Right.
how it is like where you are, but had like do they have a lot of accents where you are still?
In Georgia,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say it's more varied. There
Okay.
are different cultural groups that speak different, so it's like it's not only like a one fake accent that I kind of had to learn. Is like
Yeah.
learning different, like, oh, some people speak more like heavily, some people are easier to understand, so it was like adapting to different accents. But which I would say by the time I came back to Georgia, I was a little more well versed. I had lived in the US for 4 years at that point already, so I was like, okay, I can figure it out. I mean, there to this day, there are sometimes, I hear an accent or how a person says a specific word that I'm like, wait, what did you just say? Um, which I'm sure that other people can. I mean, you speak more than one language, so maybe you can relate to that too. It's like you always learning um, new words and increasing your vocabulary. So,
Yeah.
which is most fascinating thing about like learning new languages and speaking more than one language is like there's always something you can learn. Almost kind of like CrossFit. Look at that. There's always something you can get better at. But yeah, that is a constant learning process for me. Like I always learn new words, vocabulary in group chats with friends or whatever it is. I'm always asking like, "Hey, what does that actually mean?" So
Yeah, that's true. Like little idioms or like metaphors, and it's like what the hell are you talking about? Like I know all of those words, but like you're putting them together and now it doesn't make sense.
yeah, and that's exactly right. Like the sayings are so
Yeah.
different. Of course, like if I say like all the sayings from Brazil and just translate word by word, it makes no sense here.
Yeah.
Similarly, if you translate English to your own language, it probably won't make much sense. So, um, yeah, to this day, I all the time. This actually funny you mentioned like all the time. I'm like, what does this mean? Like, what does this expression mean? And surprisingly, a lot of people go like, so one clear example is like, oh, you went all loud the whole 9 yards. You know how people say like, oh, the whole 9 yards. I
Yeah.
was like, so what happens at the 9 yards? Right? Like why 9 yards? So I went like nobody knew how to answer, like at least the people that asked. Um and so I was like, the whole 9 yards. And I asked a couple of people, I asked my wife, and I was like, what? Nobody knew what that meant. I was like, okay, I need to Google this, like where it comes from. But um, now I will say I don't remember the explanation, but there has nothing to do like football or anything. I was like, oh, but football, like to progress,
In
not
your
the down is like 10 yards. So like, what is the nine? Like, I was so confused.
right.
Anyway, um, those things I keep questioning is like this expression make no sense.
Dang, now I want to know what it is. Let me look it up now.
Let's look it up.
The
The
whole
whole
nine.
9 yards.
That's so true because I use that one too. The whole 9 yards. That is so funny. I never even thought about that one.
It's a common American English idiom meaning everything, the whole lot, or all the way, signifying including doing everything possible to desire a specific situation.
Hmm.
But okay, oh,
Ammunition
possible
belts.
origins. Ammunition belts. Yeah. It
Oh,
was
interesting.
a
So I'm
9 yard long ammunition belt used in the World War II for aircraft guns.
damn. So they
Interesting.
said they're gonna like let out all the bullets. That's the whole 9 yards. Mm,
Yep.
interesting.
Interesting. There we go.
Dark. That's a dark saying.
Good reference. Yeah, that is true. Dang.
Crazy. Damn, yeah, I never even thought about that. That's so true.
Yeah,
I
you start looking at other like sayings like that, you see like the explanations are wild.
That's so much fun. But dang, can you do a Georgian accent or like a South Carolina accent?
Oh, I cannot. I've tried in the past and I'm so bad at it.
Fair
I
enough.
yeah,
I can't either.
not one of my talents.
No,
No.
I wish I could do an accent. It looks so fun.
It's I think it's fascinating people that can do different accents from like different countries or different parts of the US. That I think is super cool. I've never been able to do that.
Paul's really good at accents and it's like annoying because then I'll try and then he'll be like, stop. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, no, just let me
Yeah.
live my dreams. I want to be like a
I'm gonna have to text him and ask him to do different accents now.
no, you should. He's really good at
I'll
it.
ask him to send a video.
Okay, I will. I'm gonna have him do a video with Jason at Champs. I'm like, you have to
Oh yeah.
just like talk in his accent and then see
And
if
then make
Jason
Jason.
he could judge it, you know, because he's actually from
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
No, we lost Artur. He'll come back in a second. What a cool dude. Fun times.
I dropped it. Oh,
Hey.
here we go.
I knew you'd be back. But what was I gonna ask you? Okay, so when did you decide to take CrossFit more seriously? Because you signed with Blacklisted.
Right. Right now, I'm part of Blacklisted. Yes.
Yeah.
So I started um, after I decided, it was probably around just before COVID, I think, that I'm like, okay, maybe I want something more and start competing more, etc. Um, so like before COVID, I had done like a few comps here and there locally, and I'm like, okay, maybe I need something more. So I started doing comp train. After a year, I realized it was not what I needed, and then I did mayhem, like just the mayhem athlete training that they have for about 4 years. And just at the end of last year, so around August of last year, 2024, I decided to take a step even further and say, hey, I want to see where I can take this, and see my best potential. And it's not like I'm not putting a goal like, oh, I want to make it to semifinals or make it whatever. It's just like I want to see what my body can do. And I think hiring a individualized coach would help make that happen or explore, like see where I can get to. So I started with Blacklisted with their individualized programming, and my coach is Kyle Spears.
Hmm.
Um, and I've been loving so far. I've made huge amount of progress in my capacity, in my strength, and so um, definitely focusing is very focused on the things that I need to work on and my deficiencies and progressions that I need to do. Um, which comparing grid season one to grid season two for me, like grid season one, I was solely just doing a generic programming. I was not with a coach or anything like that, which I think I did okay for a rookie, but this year I had the goal of like, okay, I need to get stronger because I'm like, I can't contribute much in a mirror race or a lot of the ladders I couldn't clear. And coming into this year, like I want to be able to contribute to those races a little bit more, or like cycle barbell that's slightly heavier, um, which I did. And after being with a more individualized programming, I was able to. This year, I was part of two mirrors and I think every ladder. So huge improvements, personal for me, goals that I set um, at the end of last year to be able to contribute to the team on those races specifically. I was even part of a partner forward heck twice.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely good steps forward. I think to help the team on those areas.
No, I mean your progress from last year to this year has been insane. Like even just like watching you on Instagram and away from grid and like what you're doing in CrossFit, like the way that you move is like a lot different too. So I was gonna say that because you've improved a lot. So it's a lot of fun to watch.
Thank you, thank you. That means a lot. Um, that means a lot to know that is noticeable because sometimes we don't notice, right? Like I train by myself a lot of the time. Once a week, we have a group from Blacklisted that trains in the same gym as on Saturdays, which is awesome. We have a great community there. But a lot of the times during the week, I'm training by myself, and so
Yeah,
it's hard to gauge progress that way, or gauge your progress versus the field. But definitely, when we get into those competitions and grid matches, we can gauge that, and definitely that was a huge progress from last year, which I'm really happy about.
that's awesome. You should be happy about that. What was your what was the first time that you saw grid or like found out about grid?
um I'm trying to recall. I think the first time I ever saw something about grid, it was Klokov's famous thruster ladder in the pro grid days. And I saw him going up to like 375 thrusters or something ridiculous like that, somewhere in the upper threes. And I was like, what is that? So I looked it up and saw that like they had a match at Madison Square Garden and yada yada. Um, but then the actual time that in this format that is it is today, it was I believe this 2023 season when Amanda and Griffin started playing, and also Sydney. So I knew them from here, from Atlanta, and at that time I was not part of Blacklisted. I was not like super close to them. I just knew them because like we've been in the same like training together on the weekends or whatever. So I was like, huh, I kind of know them. Like, let me watch, see what they're doing. So it was, and Sydney was on the Brigade, I think, and
Yep.
they both were in the Gainesville Wild. And so I watched a few of the matches that season, and I was like really interested. I was like, wow, those people are insane. I cannot even imagine like how it feels to do what they do. And toward as they came to like later matches in the season, I was like, huh, I wonder if I can do some of that stuff. And so I was like, oh, maybe I can rope climb real fast. Maybe I can, like burpees over a box real fast, or, things like that. Like I can do things as fast, or if not faster than some people there. So I wonder if I ever will be able to do that. So is it in a joking manner? I think it was like right before, or it was like at the Wild camp last year. I kind of joked to Dan. They were then like Atlanta Wild, and it was the first year in Atlanta. They were having a group thing here, and so I participated, and I was like, "Hey," kind of jokingly, like, "If you need somebody to do, really fast rope climbs or box jumps, like, let me know. Here's my number." And like, I didn't know Dan at the time, and I just like literally shot my shot, and I was like, "Hey, here's my number," and gave him my number, and he was like, okay. And then I just left. And a couple of days go by. He's like, hey, dude, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I think you're a great athlete, but our roster is full. So I can't sign you even if I wanted. But I'm gonna talk to a couple of the other coaches in the league, and have a really good friend in our team, and I can send her your contact, and that was Briley. So like a couple of days go by, Briley texts me and like, hey, um, Dan, send me your contact, blah blah blah. Do you want to chat? So we got on a call for 30 minutes, chatted, and kind of vibed right away. She sent me a couple of testers, couple of like I think it was like if I remember correctly, it was the partner forward clean dumbbell thruster that we had recently.
Gotcha.
Well, I had this season at Valor, so I did that, and I had of course, the burpee ring touch, um, and a couple other things. And I sent the videos, and she was like, "Yep, let's chat again. I really want you to be part of the team." So I signed the LOI, and here we are for the second season in a row.
That's crazy. I didn't well, I knew that you knew Dan and you had connection with the Wild, but like he went out of his way to like send your contact out. That's so cool of him.
Yeah, yeah. So the reason I'm in grid right now is because of Dan, because I contacted him like I talked to him in person. He
Yeah.
connected me with Bradley.
Damn, what a cool dude. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, Dan's a solid dude.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. And ever since you've been like a real ambassador of grid. You're kind of, I think, what the Palms were missing in a way as far as like the team spirit, you know? You got all the team spirit.
Oh,
You are
thanks. I
you
appreciate
are
that.
you are so Palms. Like you're in every comment section. You're always talking about, like your team and the Palms and support for the Palms, and it's just so fun to watch. So glad they have you, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, definitely super glad that I signed with the Palms. I mean, I've after I met the team, the in the first camp last year, it was like, okay, like I made the right decision. Like these people are amazing. They're not only like incredible athletes, like they do things I've never seen before, but they're also like amazing human beings. And I'm like, and I think a lot of people can um, I think like all the teams have that kind of camaraderie amongst the players, and they treat their team as a family. And I think that's what I found playing for the Palms. It's like I grew closer to these people, and like I think like they're my brothers and sisters. And um, yeah, so I think the community that the Palms created is what kept me there, and like how amazing they are as people, and hopefully continue to do that for the years to come.
Heck yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad they found you. It's been the Palms have always been like just like right there, and have always
Hmm.
had like worked with like so little people on their roster. So it feels good to like see them as the years, progress. Like they just keep on getting more people that stay and stuff. So that's really cool.
Yeah, so it's been a building process for sure. Like the Palms are notorious for having a small roster, which not always plays in our favor. Especially if somebody gets hurt or somebody can make a match, which happens to every team, like work conflicts or injuries or whatever else. Um, so it is important to have a deep roster, as we can see. Like the teams that are doing best right now have a deep roster. They have three, four people deep for every single movement. So that's what we're trying to build at the Palms. And this year was a huge step forward for like having more people that can do multiple things and having specialists that, multiple people that can do the specialist movements. Um, which I think will continue to build on that, and having a more robust roster will definitely play in our favor in the upcoming seasons for sure.
Yeah, heck yeah. What was it? You guys didn't have, the best season, but it wasn't the worst season. What was your favorite part?
My favorite part, pink uniforms for sure.
Hard
But
agree. That was
uh,
awesome.
aside from the pink uniforms, I think it was I think the best part is how the team grew closer this year. Not only the veterans that were there for multiple years, or the returning players like me that was like had their rookie year last year. Um, but I think for the rookies that just came in, like they integrated right away. And of course, things to improve for all of us, and we all are aware of that. But I think the highlight of this season is how much of a strong base we built, like players that we know that will thrive in the grid that join the team. So all of our rookies have so much potential, and they showed in the grid. Like you can see grid stats posting all of our rookies there, and they crushed it this year. And I think the veterans also did a great job in leading the younger teammates, the newer teammates uh, to be able to succeed in the grid. So I think that was the highlight for me, is like how the group was so cohesive and build a super strong foundation for the seasons to come, for sure.
That's awesome. I really liked your post today on your story that you made, that you were reposting the grid stats of like Bailey and Sam. I was like, that's so sweet. What a nice thing to do for your teammates. I was
Yeah, I mean,
that's a team. That's awesome.
yeah, you gotta celebrate. I mean, you gotta celebrate your teammates. Like they are out there busting their ass all day to perform well on the grid, and you kind of like gotta recognize what they do. Like, yeah, I think it's important. I think it's like a lot of people don't get a lot of like love and a lot of, you know, I don't want to say respect, but recognition for what they do on the grid. And I think it's important to highlight those things. And some things are things that are not out to the public eye, right? Like some things like, I mean, maybe some people don't know how Sam is behind the scenes, right? Like behind what she shows on the grid. And I think it's important to highlight those things from like I thought it was important to highlight from my perspective. Like she's a leader, like she's a leader in our team. She's been there since the beginning. She leads by example, and like she's the first to send videos, and she's the first one to test, the assignments that is sent to her. So it's like I think that's kind of like that needs to be highlighted because it only happens behind the scenes. Nobody knows, right? So I thought it was um, important to do that. So,
Yeah, heck yeah. That's awesome. I know it's really hard, especially from a media perspective when there's so many good players like all the time, and
oh
like
yeah,
sometimes there's just so much going on and like so much like other storyline that it's hard to like go to the other storylines, because Sam Secord's definitely been somebody that plays like every year and plays her freaking heart out and like is a
yeah,
gangster. And so, it's hard to balance those things for sure. But definitely shout out to you for giving her flowers. She deserves them. That's
yeah,
fun.
absolutely. And like the people, I think I talked to Josh a couple times about that. Like some people that do the what do you call like the dirty work don't get highlighted enough. Like it's
Yeah.
awesome. Like yeah, our specialists that do all the flips and ring things and all the nice visual effects thing.
Yeah.
It's awesome, and they should be highlighted, of course. But also the people who do the 30 squats in an echo, or they do two quadrants in a back squat mirror, or like they did 20 snatches at the end of an echo. Like those things need to be highlighted, and I think like Sam is one of those people that like do that work and not always highlighted. So like heck, she did 30 hang squat cleans at the beginning of an echo last in the match in Dallas. Like I with the same barbell, I cannot even do it that fast, as fast as she did. So like it's things like that that you see and not always are talked about, that I think is cool to
Yeah,
share.
for sure. That's why I'm grateful for Josh for doing the whole grid stats thing, because it really is so cool. And like it's fun to like see if I recognized how impactful a person was, if that makes sense. Like within all the action, it's almost like, oh yeah, I did call out this person for like doing this and it was really fast. So it's good to know that like it's not just like my mind playing tricks on me. Like he definitely was like one of the fastest on this or that, and just like shouting people out for doing what they got to do. And it's just really cool.
Yeah,
So shout out to Josh and Grid Stats. What is Let me ask you a question because you're not in the playoffs.
we're not. Okay.
So we get to talk some grid. What is your opinions on Lions versus Breakers? And then we'll go into the other one.
I mean, that'll be a fight. I mean, if anything, we could see from the match in Dallas that they played against each other, like it came down, it came down to sprint relay, and they
Mhm.
had to rerun that. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be like point for point all match long. and I think it'll come down to I think it'll come down to sprint relay, and I hope it does because those are the most entertaining matches to watch, and I can't wait to watch those. Both teams have an amazing roster, I would say. Um, they both have specialists in different areas that can do the hardest things, like you know Reese and Sabrina on the breaker side, and Paula and Eric on the line side on the for the gymnastics. All the strength specialists on both sides are exceptional. So it will be a tough battle, I think.
It will be a tough battle. Do you have an opinion, or are you gonna keep it to yourself?
Um,
I'm the winner, obviously.
yeah, I will say the Breakers are coming with some vengeance. So I hope the Lions are ready. Um, I think they're gonna put both teams are gonna put everything on the line. But I'll say this because I grew closer to some people on the Breakers more so than the Lions. I feel like this season I made a lot of new friends, um, but I feel like I would say the Breakers maybe come on top because they're hurt that they lost the last time.
Yeah, they took that personally for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Um, and I hope this doesn't sound bad, but I love it when people are like really upset about losing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that's how
It
you
it brings something out of you.
yeah, like you should feel like I don't want to see you like laughing and smiling, when you're losing. Like
Yeah,
you should feel like crap. And it made me like the Breakers a heck of a lot more to like see that in them.
yeah.
So it was
And
cool. Cool to
it's
watch.
cool to see. It would be a. I mean, the Lions are a championship team. We all know that.
Yeah.
They've been in the playoffs multiple times, so it's no surprise that they're there and they had a great season. Um, Especially with the merge of the Aces, etc. But it would make for a cool story also that like the Breakers come from like one of the losingest, is that a word? I don't know. It is a word.
Yeah,
One of
yeah,
the most losing franchises to have a complete turnaround and make championships. That would be a really cool kind of like redemption story, if you
yeah.
will. But again, I want to whoever does best on the grid win. But that's what I gotta say.
Heck yeah. Do you have an answer if I ask you Sharks Brigade?
Man, I think it's a very similar scenario. Like it's very similar to kind of like Brigade Breakers and Lions because despite both teams have amazing rosters, um, they have their key players that are have been super clutch throughout the season. Um, and again, the Sharks came on top last time in Dallas when they played the Brigade for after rerunning the sprint relay multiple times. Um, but I would say maybe the Sharks. I think that they have slightly more depth in the roster. Um, I think the Brigade is definitely also looking like a championship team. Like you can't deny that they're deep in their roster. They have a lot of players that can do a lot of damage. Um, and if they both are all 100%, I I don't have an answer. But
Mhm.
um, maybe the depth of the Sharks, depending on how Fico puts his roster together, they might have a slight edge, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's the
Jess is gonna come for me on the DMs, man. Jess is gonna come for my
I don't
throat.
know.
I'm sorry, Jess.
I don't know if Jess watches my podcast actually, but I guess we'll
Oh,
find
maybe
out.
I'm safe. Maybe I'm safe.
We might be safe. I don't know, or maybe we'll find out, and we'll
We'll
both get.
find out.
But yeah, I mean, all of these teams are looking like so ridiculous, and everybody's like, oh, like you could never tell with grid or whatever. And I hate when they say that because like you can usually always tell who's going to the championship, like more or less,
Yeah.
like if we're being like totally honest. But this is the first time where it's genuinely like, oh crap, like it's really like whoever wants it more right now. And it's really
Yeah.
cool. It's totally cool.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to say, and it's I don't mean to be comparing to CrossFit, but like as we saw in the CrossFit Games, for example, like in the men's side, like you had 6 to 8 guys that could win the games at any given point, right? Like it was great. Even the last event, there were 6 guys, depending on how they play, 6 guys could be in first. So seeing that happen more in grid, where like yeah, any of the four could win, and like anyone would say like, yeah, that was fair, like that was deserved. Like there's not one team that you say like, I don't know, actually they can win. Like any of the four, um, and I think this year, like in the matches in Dallas proved that like all of the teams are extremely leveled. Of course, there are teams that have better, things here and there, but um, take for example the last 8 matches of Dallas. It's like all of the matches were decided in the sprint relay basically, and or if not gridlock. So um, I love to see the growth in the league and how the teams are extremely competitive with each other. It's hard to say who's going to win a certain match, so which makes more entertaining.
Totally. I'll say that this was the first year that I've been watching the games that I was actually like, oh crap, like I need to make sure I watch this event because like it's totally going to get scrambled. I mean, for the women, first place was spoken for, but like
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
else was
yeah.
up for grabs. And for the men's side, it was totally a toss up. And it was like 7 points separating like each of like the top 7 or 8 men, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
And I was in it like for the first time, and I usually like don't like watching CrossFit because
Hmm.
it's not like the most exciting, and I don't know like too many of the characters. But now that I'm like learning the characters and stuff, I was like, oh shit, like this is really dope for
It gets
sure.
more fun to watch. Yeah, exactly. And it's the same with grid, right? So
Yeah,
um, you can watch grid and think it's super entertaining, which it is, um, even if you don't know anybody. But like you know people and you get more invested. So like when I was just a spectator, like I was watching because of Amanda and Griffin and Sydney, and I would watch their matches. I was like, okay, I want the doesn't matter. Like I want the Brigade to win because I know Sydney. Like I want the Wild to win because I know Amanda and Griffin, and I would cheer for them. Like the more you know, learn about the people, the more you um, get invested and learn the characters and what you become a bigger fan of the sport, which is cool. I think.
totally. And you know, it's really reliant on like putting in time and like learning the characters too. And so thanks for hanging out with me. I had fun learning about you. So
Yeah, absolutely. And
you're definitely one of my, yeah. Go ahead.
thank you for doing those. I mean, you got like both you, Daniel, and Jason, like doing these interviews and getting people on and doing all these shows, like the show you did with Matter. That was like that's so important for the growth of the sport. And I just don't want that to be, you know, left in the dust. Like it needs to be highlighted the good work that you guys are doing because that helps. That helps to for people to learn the characters and learn the players and like that's the players are not just somebody that's there on the screen. Like we're all normal people and we all have normal lives and stuff like that. So it's really cool to I love listening to the podcast. That's why I'm on the comment section all the time. I love learning about people and what they do, what they like, how they behave, and all kinds of their stories. So yeah, thank you and thank all the other hosts to be doing those things because they're really important.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And thanks for putting up with my bad schedule because I've been wanting to talk to you because you are one of my favorite characters and you're a real ambassador of grid, and That's really important for our sport. So I appreciate you. Do your
Thank you.
what do you do for work, by the way? Can I ask you that?
Yeah, of course. So I work in tech. So I currently work for a data privacy company, and I'm a product specialist for our data privacy software. So,
Fancy.
you know, for example, like real life application is like when you click on like, oh, accept cookies or something like that. That is you like accepting that that website can use your data for various reasons, like for send you newsletters or share your information with that company to send you emails or offers, etc. Um, and so our company, that's one of the products our company sells, like the cookies banner, etc. And we also have like how to protect your data and like making sure our clients are protecting their data accordingly to data privacy laws. Anyway, I'm not going to get into too much of that, but yeah,
Yeah. Interesting.
that's
Wait,
that's what I do.
but let me ask you a question. Like if I click accept cookies, like is that bad or is that fine?
No, it's not bad.
Okay.
There are some things that are necessary cookies that you cannot reject. So, like the necessary cookies are just basic information that they use to function on their website. But you can, if you go like into Open More or whatever language they use, like C all or whatever, you can select only necessary cookies to accept. So it's like you just share the basic information. You're not like you can toggle off a few options like, oh, don't send me emails about this, or don't send me offers, or don't use my information on other websites, etc.
Oh crap. I never even
Yeah.
thought about that. Wow. What a great question I just asked because like
Yeah.
I'm like I honestly had no idea what any of that meant. I didn't know that that was an option. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
Dude,
you can kind of like, yeah, give your consent to different levels of like sharing your information, basically.
that's sick. Man, you're just like a jack of all trades. You're like in so many you're your hand in so many like different industries. That's really cool.
Yeah,
But do your coworkers know that like you play grid and stuff?
that is funny. A couple.
Okay.
Only my closest coworkers, like two. That I'm glad you asked that because I want to give them a shout out. Cesar and Phil, they are both coworkers of mine. They, when I said, I was like, "Oh, I'm doing good this season." They didn't know last season, but they knew this season, and I was like, "Oh," I was just sharing them, like I was looking for sponsors, etc. Like, we'll sponsor you. I was like, "What do you mean? Like, are you really?" And ends up they actually did, and they said like, "We'll sponsor you if we can put our face on your shirt." And then so then I made like a cartoon version of their faces, and I it's on the back of my jersey.
What? I never even
So yeah, yeah. So I'll send you on Instagram a screenshot, a picture of my jersey, and like their faces are on the back of my jersey. It was just kind of hilarious.
Oh my God, I love that. That's so nice.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, a couple of them know. More people, maybe I'm not like a handful, know that like I do CrossFit things. They are don't understand a lot of what that is, but I'll say like about a handful, like five or so people know that I compete in fitness, as a serious hobby.
Yeah,
But two of them know like grid and they've watched matches and stuff.
that's so sick. If I played
Yeah.
grid, like first of all, everybody that I've ever met has heard about grid because I never shut up about it. And I also don't have a very
Nice.
yeah, and I also don't have a very corporate job. So I'm sure like there's like some level of decorum that you have to have and everything. But like
Yeah.
me personally, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this like really important like fitness thing. But if I played on a grid team, I would be insufferable. I would be like nobody knows here that I'm like the strength specialist of like this team, you know? Like I definitely would
Yeah.
be like that person.
Yeah, it's definitely a balance at in a corporate job
Mm.
because you can share, but like I prefer to not share too much of
Yeah.
what that is because like we have a very flexible time off policy in our company now, but I don't want to be questioned like, oh, why are you taking time off to compete on that thing again? You know what I mean? Like I don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
be questioned. So it's like I prefer to just share with certain people and kind of like, balance that out.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, definitely. Like in a corporate setting, I see the hesitation for sure.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. That's really cool, man. I had so much fun getting to know you. Thanks for hopping on again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Is there anything else you wanted to say, or I forgot to ask that you wanted to talk about?
Um, I don't think so. Shout out to everybody who supported me this season. Um, thank you, Homegrown Relief, CBD. They're my main sponsor this year, and I hope next year as well. They're great. I was using their product before, even before they became a sponsor, which was a perfect fit. They have amazing CBD products, from oils to icy hot with CBD, from gummies, from whatever. It's great. And thank you for Thick Boy. They are all always in my corner. So just wanted to say thank you. And also say thank you to like everybody who watched Grid and the entire team that puts it together. Again, they don't get enough love. I feel like Mather, Ruby, everybody that is behind the scenes, broadcast, putting everything together, yourself in the broadcast team. Like, thank you guys for putting so much hard work. And a lot of people don't know what it takes to make that look all pretty and professional. And I think like only players that have seen and the people that are behind the scenes that know. So appreciate all you guys do for making the sport better and bigger every single year.
Heck
And that's
yeah.
it. That's my spiel.
I love it. Thank you for that. And thank you to everybody that makes this possible. And thanks to you for the fifth time because I had so much fun. You're such a cool guy. Man, they should like
Thank
write a book
you.
on you. What a story.
Wow. That would be awesome actually one day.
When we blow up, like, and they're gonna be like, okay, like choose a few people. Cause obviously, like, I'm gonna be like one of those like office executive people that own like stake in the sport. And I'm gonna
Yep.
be like, I dude needs a memoir. And like you're gonna be one of the first people that I'm gonna call and like refer them to you.
I love it. I love it. Let's do it.
Heck yeah. All right. Let's peace sign out.
Peace.